The legendary ninja known as the first Hokage. This guy is almost like a couple characters in the show that we love combined. Like, he reminds me of Rock Lee because of his fighting hand-to-hand ability to be able to hang with Madara, who's fast enough to basically speed blitz all these ninja by himself. But when he fights the first Hokage, which you're going to see a lot in this video, he can't do this same speed blitz, implying that Hashirama's speed must be similar or better. Then he reminds me of characters like Tsunade, a character that can heal, or one could say regenerate in the middle of combat. He has elements similar to her. Matter of fact, Tsunade looked up to the first Hokage. He was one of those characters that can heal wounds instantly without forming seals. Another thing when it comes to comparing him to Tsunade, it's even stated that the first Hokage had an enormous amount of chakra and could regenerate his body even without forming seals. But Tsunade has an inferior amount of chakra if compared to him, blah, blah, blah. Real life ninjas is one thing, but then when we talk about fictional ninja, things can get a bit over the top. I mean, you got super ninjas like Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden series. In the Naruto universe, for example, you have a lot of different types of ninja magic type stuff you can do based on using your inner energy and all that type of ninja training type stuff. On the Naruto world, there's a whole bunch of different areas on the planet with different type of ninjas that have their own Kage. One could say the president or their leader of their said area, usually the most top tier of that area at the time, Hokages or Kages in general as a ninja. Because in the Naruto universe, you have ninja ranks, and then you got at the very top the Kage ninja rank. When it comes to the main location, aka the Hidden Leaf Village, the place where Naruto would be chilling at all the time, they had their own set of Kages or leaders over the years. They basically have their own version of Mount Rushmore, showing the previous Kages in the Hidden Leaf Village. But have you ever wanted to analyze the very first Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village? He's one of those beings you can't really disrespect. He's one of the few ninjas that can actually battle Madara one-on-one before they started introducing everybody that's Kage level and Sage of Six Paths all the time nowadays. These two are at the top of the food chain. So much. To be able to fight this guy one-on-one is absurd, considering there was a time where all the leaders of each area was summoned together to fight Madara 5 versus 1, and they still was having major issues even though they outnumber him. But let's analyze the first Hokage since we know he can battle him one-on-one. When they was talking about Madara in this particular case, and they was talking about how Madara is basically invincible and how he fought the 5 Kages, nobody but the first could even defeat Madara. There's not many people that Madara honestly says it's an honor to die by his hand. It lets you know how mighty of an opponent he is. There's beings in the show that wanted his part of his cells so he can control tailed beasts. They said he was the man that stood at the top of the shinobi world. Some translations say the greatest ninja of all his time. Madara even brought up the fact that people called him the strongest shinobi. Just like a lot of other ninjas, he can do a lot of different type of elemental type things with chakra natures because he's one of the few characters that's extremely versatile when it comes to chakra natures, being able to use all the major ones. One thing that made him unique was he could do stuff that other ninjas couldn't do no matter what, like combining the properties of earth and water together to make wood and do wood release type jutsu, elemental manipulation of wood basically, and was apparently exclusive to his cells. If you have his cells, you would probably be able to do it though. There's a reason why people that have Hashirama cells end up being overpowered and strong, right? They even said a secret jutsu known only to the first Hokage is wood release. So how does this guy know it? And thanks to experience, there's other beings, not many beings, that carry the first Hokage cells within him. And this is because of the rare experiments Orochimaru did, because he wanted to learn the wood style jutsu to control the Nine Tails like the first Hokage can, which I'm going to get into later on in this vid. This how you know it's hard to control his cells. Orochimaru extracted his DNA, inserted into 60 children. Their inferior bodies rejected the superior genetic material. They died in rapid succession one after another. He thought they all had perished. There was one survivor. And that's why he can use the Hokage jutsu. So yeah, it's pretty much exclusive, but Yamato is just one of the rare anomalies that can actually use it well. Everybody else's bodies was inferior. One could say this being, thanks to the first Hokage's experiment going successful, was able to kind of suppress the energy of tailed beasts, for example, which is how they was able to get Naruto back to normal here. There's only a few that is actually able to control the beast. Look what happens to beings or ninjas where they have the first Hokage cells, a wood style release that they can't control. Wood style seems to be exclusive to him. They even said the first Hokage's power is not easy to manage, losing the ability to control the chakra. It's literally a meme in the community about anybody that has Hashirama cells, this is automatically amped beyond belief. Ask Danzo and characters like Yamato. Most characters throughout the series can't get his ability like this naturally. They have to get some type of experiment or get some trace of his cells in them to do such a thing. Long story short, there's a few people in the Naruto show that they figured out how to fuse with Hashirama's cells, but their feats seem to pale in comparison to how good he can control wood even to this day. On top of this, Hashirama has transformations he can use, like Sage Mode. Like, you know how Naruto has his own Sage Mode? The first Hokage, he got his own base form, but then he got his own Sage Mode transformation that drastically boosts everything he can do previously. So just a heads up, if you see him looking different in some of these images, some of these are just him Edo Tensei, aka Risen from the Dead zombie style, and some of these images is him in Sage Mode, blah, blah, blah. He can make wood style clones, create his own forest basically. If you breathe in this pollen, it would also knock you out. You can see in this angle on how much he can create when it comes to how many trees he can create. I notice anime loves dragons. He can use his wood to make dragons, like constructs to fight you or restrain you. One can say he can make his own Susanoo, but instead of it being energy, it's just straight up wood, but shaped like a gigantic humanoid. Can create a giant dome or shield for himself if needed. You're going to see a lot of Madara in this video, but you can see him making wood hands that come from the ground to surround this Susanoo. A lot of these jutsus characters have to use hand seals or hand signs, and he can do some of this stuff with straight will or with a thought. And when he does these wood style techniques in Sage Mode, they're just better than ever because he can create giant craps like this. Yes, I'm aware that all these hands remind you of Azura from Azura's Wrath. It's stuff like this that makes him strong because he can use all these hands in this wood style fashion, even though it reminds me of Azura from Azura's Wrath, the video game. It's wild that he can use this giant wooden statue like hands and use them like a Gatling gun. And these constructs are like mountain size and they're coming at you with giant fists like this. What are you going to do? He can make big pillars to pin folks down like this. He can do illusion type stuff like other ninjas can do, like genjutsu, for example. As strong as this guy is, it's hard to believe he was young once. The first Hokage, along with Madara and their rivalry, they pretty much proved they was anomalies among everyone else in the ninja world at their time. Because even while kids, these two were implied to be stronger than most adults around the area, even while young. There's implications as a ninja, he has hand-to-hand combat skills. He can use a blade like a sword, kunai, or shurikens, ninja stuff. And all kinds of melee stuff on top of all of his ninja magic trickery stuff he can do. Yeah, they actually have hand-to-hand combat skills. First Hokage and Madara do. You can see occasions like this when it comes to Taijutsu, or one can say hand-to-hand combat, when it comes to fighting speed and stuff like that. He would even mix in Taijutsu with some form of trickery, like a wood doppelganger, for example, to get the drop on you. That would be cool if he had this kind of ability though, chakra enhanced strength. I love how certain games portray certain things. Like in this game, for example, it's implied that the first Hokage can do chakra enhanced strength type stuff with his channeling his energy through his fist. Like you see the blue around his arm, like on some Tsunade type stuff. Madara was always praising how anything them Kages can do, first Hokage could do better, including the healing jutsu that Tsunade specializes in. The first Hokage can do that better than she could. So who's to say maybe he couldn't have chakra enhanced strength as well? But keep note, this only happened in the game. Like, can you imagine a big power up like this to where he does chakra enhanced strength type stuff by focusing his chakra into his fist and then does Sage Mode on top of it? That would just be wild, wouldn't it? Sage Mode on top of chakra enhanced strength. Y'all remember when Orochimaru summoned these gigantic defensive structures? Orochimaru was able to summon 3, right? First Hokage can summon 5. He had a reputation of being called the god of shinobi. There's this jutsu to bring people back and control them and have them do what you want, right? You know he's built different when the other Hokages couldn't break free of this control, but guess who could? Because even the first said it, oh, he's using my cells and enhance his power to bind us. Orochimaru knew that the first Hokage was strong enough to break his binding at any time because he's just built different like that. Using his wood-styled stuff on top of this technique right here, he was able to release the tailed beast, the 9 tails in this particular occasion, from Madara's control by touching his head, and you can see his eyes look normal and doesn't look like a Sharingan no more. Like here, for example, the tailed beast is being controlled. You can see by the way his eyes look. For one, if you watch Naruto, right, tailed beasts were these beings that were ridiculously powerful and could blast with tailed beast bombs and all that madness, right? Naruto's one of those beings that eventually bonded with his tailed beast, the 9 tails, and could use his chakra or power output at will, getting golden forms and stuff. Something like this should be noted that there's other tailed beasts, but the more tails, it's implied the more mighty. 1 tail, 2 tails, all the way up to 9 tails. It's implied that the 9 tails is the mightiest tailed beast of them all, because each tailed beast in particular, when it comes to their own blast power, can all fire their own blast separately. I just want to give you an idea of other tailed beasts right quick and how strong they are. Even tailed beasts that are weaker than Naruto's 9-tailed fox. Tailed beasts are weaker than the 9 tails. Like the 8 tails, 1 tails, 3rd tails, their blasts by themselves, when their blasts are put out and they hit, the explosions of each of their blasts on their own are bigger than mountain-sized structures when you see them by themselves, right? But when it comes to the 9-tailed fox, in this occasion Naruto had control over, for example, Naruto was able Or one could say the nine-tailed fox working together with Naruto was able to pretty much nullify or overpower a blast by all the tailed beasts combining their blasts into one ball together. The nine-tailed fox is able to match this level of power. Each of these beings are beings that can blast apart mountains with ease. And the nine-tailed fox is blasting this type of stuff. And their combined blast makes ridiculously large explosions. Explosions that big, one could say the size of a city, island. This kind of backs up the fact that, yeah, the nine tails is the strongest of all these tailed beasts. So tell me why, when the first Hokage was up against Madara, the nine-tailed fox demon itself, keep in mind that he's not in sage mode, the first Hokage can use wood-styled arts to physically restrain with his wood the nine tails itself, beings this mighty. And for those wondering, just because he can restrain a tailed beast doesn't mean nothing. That's what you're thinking? No, restraining the tailed beast means everything, considering physically these tailed beasts can take their own tailed beast blast, getting hit back at themselves. Mountain shattering type stuff in weaker forms when the tailed beast Naruto cloak did this. And these beasts can withstand this type of impact. And the first Hokage in his base form was able to do wood-styled stuff to physically restrain the nine tails. And to make matters worse, when the nine tails decided to do his own tailed beast bomb blast, he has wood. The first Hokage has wood-style constructs that can catch tailed beast blasts. Mountain busting attacks, he just catches with a wood-styled hand release in his base form. So right off gate, he can make wood constructs that can catch tailed beast bombs with their hands. So one can say he can make constructs that have enough raw strength and durability to withstand mountain shattering attacks and throw back mountain shattering attacks when he's using his base form. You can see the strength of this construct here. Their construct being damaged to some degree, but inevitably them two withstanding big mountain-sized explosions like this. I mean, honestly, saying mountain shattering is an understatement, because when you think about all these tailed beasts, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5. 5+ tailed beasts are shooting mountain shattering attacks. That's like 5 times the force of a mountain coming at you. Nine-tailed fox being the strongest tailed beast and being able to blast with enough force to match all these tailed beasts blasting them at the same time. This just goes to show that the first Hokage was standing a blast from the fox, an attack that can blow away a city, one could say, or an island. Here he is in the middle of all this, and his statue and all this stuff he's in the middle of. And he can make stuff like this that I mentioned earlier to shield himself from crazy attacks. You already know about this being Madara being able to fight 5 different Kage level beings at the same time, right? This is no easy feat, guys. I don't think you guys understand that Madara can create his own giant-sized energy construct called the Susanoo because of the Sharingan and stuff. Constructs like this that can cut multiple mountains up. So the first Hokage is already fighting somebody that can slice 5 mountains up at the same time if he wished, because of Susanoo's slashing power and stuff. But to make matters worse, he's doing this by himself, and the first Hokage is fighting the nine tails being shielded by Susanoo from Madara, guys. Literally like armor. First Hokage even stated he wrapped up the nine tails with armor. First Hokage using his wood-style constructs to parry a sword swings from this giant Susanoo energy construct. Especially on this occasion when the first Hokage is making wood almost the size of the tailed beast himself, and this armored nine-tailed fox did a sword slash that was cutting up 5+ mountains. The first Hokage was even worried about the land being completely obliterated from their fight. So even when the nine tails that's armored up with Madara Susanoo was trying to do another tailed beast mountain, multiple mountain shattering bomb, one can argue a city shattering bomb coming at him, he's able to make a shield, the Rashomon, the thing I brought up earlier that Orochimaru can do. You see, it's a tail beast bomb with blades in it. Yeah, it's crazy. He was able to change the trajectory of a blast this mighty, as you can see. Look at the big explosion. So then that's when he says, oh, let me go to Sage mode to fight this armored up Madara nine-tailed ninja to make this giant Azurus Wrath construct. Let me stop. This construct was so massive, the construct itself looked like it was the size of mountains itself. So just from the pure scale of size that this is, it has to be way past mountain shattering level if weaker states can do or withstand attacks like this. I mean, we already know this form can shoot blasts that can level like big stuff over here, big mountain ranges and stuff. The first Hokage was able to do like a Gatling gun of punches thanks to this giant thing he summoned in Sage mode, sacrificed a lot of the arms of this construct in the process, and punched the Susanoo off of him literally, physically grabbing and restraining the nine tails. One can make the argument that since the nine-tailed fox can overpower 5+ tailed beast on its own with his own blast. One could say attacks like this could shatter islands or split multiple islands in half. I mean, he did get hit with a blast, but when his construct and stuff that was blasted at him from the nine-tailed fox itself, and he was able to shield from stuff like this. Catch a blast of this caliber from the nine-tailed fox that one can argue could split an island in half, because we've seen what the nine tails can do to other tailed beasts being stronger than multiple tailed beasts. A blast that can overpower 5 tailed beasts. Each tailed beast can level mountains. And you telling me the first Hokage can make wood constructs to block himself and shield himself from attacks like this? Make wood-style construct avatars to catch these type of blasts with the construct's strength and endure the explosion. Keep in mind that he literally grabbed the bomb itself and threw it back at him. And the first Hokage's avatar wood construct had to withstand this explosion to show his durability. Doing this all while he's in base form, might I add, despite him combining the tailed beast, nine tails, with the Susanoo that can slice up mountains like this and still can parry attacks like this with his wood construct. So we're talking about attacks that can slice multiple mountains. Hashirama's constructs can withstand such mountain trembling might and counter such attacks that slice mountains in his base state. It's confirmed with his wood style constructs fighting these tail beasts, he can definitely level the land. Him and Madara were doing such things. He would easily be able to sink an island even in his base state. An entire island or city would fall to his might, or his wood style punches or his constructs. Then can enter Sage mode to make a better construct. Proven when he enters Sage mode, his constructs get better. He can control and manipulate giant wood avatars with thousands of hands that are about mountain sized. It just gives you an idea of his crazy power. I mean, just look at the crater that these two are in this particular scan. Look how small they look compared to all this bullcrap because of them messing up the landscape. I mean, all this stuff makes sense because he literally stated that when Naruto was using the tail beast forms and his dad and him working together, he said that's an impressive volume of chakra comparable to his own, implying he has massive amounts of chakra on the level of tail beast level beings, even top tier tail beast level beings like Nine Tails itself. Yeah, if him and Madara were fighting in the village, they would definitely wipe out the entire village with ease, probably with a couple attacks. I mean, if you want to take handbooks seriously when it comes to the Nine Tails power he's slugging it out with his construct he's fighting with in Sage mode. In this occasion, they're talking about him being sealed in Naruto, but I'm talking these events when he's fighting them was before he was sealed in Naruto and stuff. They're saying that the Nine Tails in general has the power that can turn the world into ash. Are they talking about one blast? Like, that would be wild. That would change everything when it comes to how strong these Susanoos and Hashirama was without even counting Sage of Six Paths stuff or power-ups. I mean, we know he's battling against the nine-tailed fox. Would this imply that the first is capable of fighting off beings that can cause planetoid destruction or some crap? There's even occasions when he's working together with other ninjas that are pretty powerful. When they was working together fighting a 10 tails entity, you know, a tail beast entity that has like all the tail beasts in them, a ridiculously powerful entity. First Hokage working together with others was able to make a super jutsu called the Four Crimson Ray Formation. First Hokage added in his own little thing to it when he went in Sage mode to attach the 10 tails' tail to the ground so he can't move. But take a look at this giant barrier they worked together to put around him. It was said to be dozens of times more powerful than the Four Purple Flames Formation. It takes 4 Hokage class shinobi to create it. So when all those tail beasts are put together, this is probably a country-shattering attack this barrier was able to hold up to something this out of control. The 10 tails end up scorching himself. A barrier that is, not to let through such a blast. But yeah, this was like a team effort. You see he has jutsu to put down, to try to lock down the 10 tails. You know how strong tail beasts are individually, let alone them put together. And when it comes to his fighting speed, narratively speaking, he can't be slow when it comes to reflexes because his rival is Madara. First of all, we know that he's able to match Madara in Taijutsu like I already showed earlier in this video. And look how he's able to literally speed blitz all these ninja in just straight Taijutsu type combat with a sword. Hand-to-hand combat speed blitz type thing. Characters in Naruto, ninjas that are considered to be, one could say, speedster type characters, like the Hokage. In Databook, it stated that the Hokage, when it comes to fighting speed or when they do their lariat together with Killer B, their lariat or fighting speed, they talk about how they rush at the opponent's neck at almost the speed of light. But when the Hokage tries to power up, and tries to speed blitz Madara, you can see Madara's eyes can see his attacks coming and is able to block him. Even Hokage talks about how he's still able to block him even with his speed, showing his reaction time. It just lets you know how fast Madara is. And if Hashirama was super slow in comparison, why didn't Madara just speed blitz him? It's obvious that he had reaction time or defense to be able to fight on par with him. Narratively speaking, it just wouldn't make sense of them being rivals on how he's able to fight him hand-to-hand combat style or taijutsu over the years. Even if it's not explicitly stated, it's pretty assumed and it's pretty narratively shown that they're supposed to be similar in fighting speed. Or else Madara would have just speed blitzed him on all these different occasions in combat. So the first Hokage has a bare minimum be at least to be able to react to lightning. Bare minimum lightning, but there's a possibility he could fight close to the speed of light. One can argue that his Sage Mode would even amplify this even more when it comes to his fighting speed increase. But at the end of the day, everybody, all of this could be just me. What do you think his blast power is? Do you think in his Sage Mode and his mightiest attacks, do you think it's possible that he could possibly be a Moonbuster or Earthbuster? But what do you guys think? Did you guys learn something new? You might already knew about him. You got to respect the first Hokage. He's the one that started it all. He's the first person on that Hidden Leaf Village, Mount Rushmore. But before I get going, I got to say thanks for the donations, everybody. It helps out a lot. Respect Hashirama, the first Hokage. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.